Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world, and welcome to another session of Living World of Darkness, Camarilla Venue. Tonight's scene is set in the Coal Cellar, which is Limey's Jazz Bar in Manhattan. And Ghost and Limey are meeting up for a quiet drink and a chat, and just taking in the night before any further chaos ensues. And that's where we find them, sitting smoking at the bar, both enjoying a glass of something.
I'll let you know about the layout of the place just in case. As Ghost walked in, she walked into a nondescript looking doorway above which was like neon red lighting that said Coal Cellar. A few kind of, people hanging out outside, but it's a quiet night, so not too many, just people smoking really. But as you walk into the doorway, you're presented with a small hallway with a door behind it that says no entry, and a long stairwell going downwards, in which the lighting grows quite dim. As you walk in, you walk into a large room, stage at the front, two doors going off to either side, a fire exit, which presumably up the flight of stairs, and a bar to the left-hand side. Around the dance floor, there's sort of like little booths and seating areas, and so we'll be sat to the left of the bar.
Ghost gets a few looks as she walks in, obviously, because she does anyway. She stands out, especially in a jazz joint where, people wear smart suits. And she just looks like she's been dragged through the 80s backwards. She smiles at you as she sees you and walks towards you.
Limey kind of, but she finds Limey kind of staring into his drink. But as he sees her, he kind of looks up and gives her a thin smile and kind of nods and gestures to the seat to his left.
Just as an out of character note, are David and Kitten going to be sitting upstairs or downstairs in this bit?
There's no upstairs.
This is all in one room.
Yeah, you walk down a sort of flight of stairs into the table. Like, there's just a door that says no entry, but right next to that.
Okay. So, do you guys want to describe where you are on the bar?
Well, Celio just walked in, probably not too far behind you, and he sees the bar. He has to go over there, take a seat. And even though he's in a suit, his tie's missing, top button's undone, jacket open.
So, looking sort of like a bit bedraggled, a bit worn out. Not so up.
He looks like he's had a rough day.
Okay, cool. Well, as you sit down at the bar, quite a classically beautiful young woman walks up to you. Her hair's in like a sort of brunette bob. She's wearing like a go-go dress and that kind of thing. She sort of, walks over to you and smiles and says, "What can I get you?" In an American accent.
American accent, New York.
You know what I mean, man.
He looks at the. I'm assuming there's bottles on display showing what they have.
Yeah, it's nice liquor. It's kind of, it's not your usual kind of Jack Daniels shit. It's Bullier and that kind of thing. It's quite nice.
He'll probably order some Appleton's rum, which is some of the top shelf shit.
Yeah, she'll pull it down, pour you a liberal glass. And I don't know the sort of price you'd pay for that drink in America, so I guess she'll ask for the money. She supplies the drink for you.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And he pays in cash.
Yeah, she takes the cash. And she kind of smiles at you sweetly and kind of brandishes her chest a little bit. You can tell she's kind of angling for a tip. She sees like, guy's had a long day, down on his luck, not bad looking, wearing an expensive suit. She kind of tries to charm you a little bit. She bats her eyelashes. Stop flirting with the new entry, Sam.
alert you.
And
You doing anything else? Just sitting in and not going to look around the place?
well, probably take a look around the place as he tips. But
Do you want to roll perception, see kind of what detail you get, or?
sure, give me 1 second.
There's a
Get the
dice
sheet up.
roller right in the program, Dave.
Huh?
There's a dice roller in the program.
Oh,
To
yeah.
get my sheet up so I know how many dice I'm rolling.
Yeah.
No, okay.
I mean, unless you want me to just say, oh, I have like 10 dice.
Yeah.
No.
You rolled a 10. You rolled a 10 on a 6-sided dice.
I'm assuming it's perception and alertness.
Yeah.
Right.
Difficulty 6, basic difficulty.
Let's see. Yeah. No successes.
Mhm.
Savage. You look around. You see a bar. The lighting's dim. A lot of the seats are in like red upholstered leather. There's a few people dotted around the seating areas and that kind of thing. It's a relatively large club, and it's mostly just people chatting and drinking. There's a band setting up on stage. You don't get anything particularly,
Yeah.
But you see the bar. It's a good bar.
He's probably distracted.
Probably distracted, like he's had a hard day.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to do, or you just,
He tucks the tip into the girl's bra and picks up his drink like, cheers.
She like kind of looks down at her chest, kind of smiles at you, but it's kind of there's a flash of panic in her eyes, like she doesn't know how to deal with this, and just kind of takes the tip and turns and walks down the bar. Like, she's she smiles at you. Right. No, I'm sorry, I don't actually know your real name, so Isabel.
Alright. Okay. So, Isabel will enter the bar. And she's dressed really casual for being here. She's wearing a pair of jeans and some sort of band t-shirt. I don't know, maybe AC/DC.
Okay.
Her blonde hair is messy and it's kind of half up, half down. She looks like she's had a bit of a rough day, or as if she's been in a rush recently, like she's been running a lot.
Okay.
And, well, she walks in and she just kind of glances around a little. Not sure where to go, where to sit yet. Not sure if she's feeling social or not.
Cool. Do you want to roll perception, try and take stock of your surroundings, or are you cool?
Yeah, I'm gonna roll perception.
You find the dice stream thing?
Two successes?
Oh no, we rolled d10s.
Oh, why did I click? I clicked on the wrong one. I'm sorry. I completely clicked on the 6, meaning to click on the 10.
Oh, they're one below the other, aren't they? It makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, let's do it again. One success then? Difficulty 6, or?
Yeah, difficulty 6.
Okay,
Yeah.
so one success.
You look around. You're in a bar. You've heard what I've said to the young gentleman. It's it's dingy, but in kind of that classy jazz kind of way. There's a band setting up on stage. Bar to your left-hand side. Yeah, all that jazz. The people you notice, like there's there's a couple of people smoking at the bar, and it doesn't seem to be much of an issue. You notice that there's a funny symbol. Some of the guys here, they're dressed in sort of suits and overcoats and that kind of thing, just kind of American jazz style. But you notice a few of them have got like patches on their lapels and stuff like that. There's a little skull with a switchblade in its teeth. Don't really know what to make of it, but there it is. Apart from that, it's just people sitting around chatting and drinking. But you notice a man who's particularly bedraggled looking at the bar. He sat right at the end of the bar, looking into his drink. And yeah, go.
Oh, well, she does notice the little thing on the person's lapel, and she's kind of curious about that, and probably thinking it's a gang or something, and kind of shifts away from those people really quick. And she walks up to the bar, and she takes a seat, and takes the hair tie out of her hair, which is clearly half falling out anyway, and lets her hair down.
Okay.
And she looks for the bartender.
You've heard her before. Brunette hair and a little bob, wearing a go-go dress. Quite a buxom young thing, quite pretty. Clearly there's a criteria to be a barmaid in this particular club. And she kind of struts over to you on her heels. She says, "What can I get you?" But in an American accent, remember.
She looks at the shelf, and she seems really out of her element here. But she just kind of points at something. She's like, I'll try that.
What do you get? Let's let the dice decide. You get a Moscow. She gets the rum down from the shelf, and it's dark rum. None of that clear shit. And she kind of gives you an appraising look, and kind of shakes her head a little bit, and walks over to her fridge, and she pulls out a lime and some ginger beer. She kind of she says, "Oh, sorry, it's vodka, not rum. No, it's talking about vodka." She kind of tips it all in, squeezes the lime into it, and puts the segment in, and she passes it to you and says, "It's a Moscow Mule. You look like the type."
Oh, she thanks her. No thanks. Here, how much is this? She tilts her head a little bit.
I'm British. I don't know about the exchange
Some
rate.
money to change.
That'll be, I don't know, $5. That'll be $5, darling.
She passes over the money, and she just kind of looks at her drink like, wow, that's expensive for a drink.
She might have charged you the tip on top of it.
Probably poached the price a little bit.
I don't know how much you spend on this stuff, but yeah, so she takes the money and goes about her business. To your left on the bar is a bedraggled-looking man in a suit, like a relatively expensive-looking suit, and to your right looks like one of the Lost Boys and a relic from the late 50s jazz scene. A tall, rakish guy in sort of a midnight blue suit that looks like it was nice once.
Well, for now, I think Isabel will just sort of look at her drink, decide if she wants to drink it or not.
That's a point, do you?
Alright, that's it for her for now.
Cool.
Ghost, she's fully leaning over the bar now. She's leaning all the way over it, with her elbows propped on it, completely comfortable in her environment, no social etiquette whatsoever. And she sort of makes a sound at the barmaid.
What, like a whistle?
Yeah, no, it's more of a psst. It's not a whistle exactly, or a clicking sound. It's more of a hey, psst.
Okay.
And
she sort of turns to you. Yes, darling.
You know where my bottle is, don't you?
What?
she points. Ghost points to one of the bottles that's quite low down in one of the cabinets.
Okay. She looks at the cabinet and she looks at the bowl. What are you pointing at?
Ghost points at a green and black bottle at the very bottom of like the fridge cabinet.
Oh, she like she opens it and she bends over. She doesn't crouch respectfully. She has the lean, perfected. She brings the bottle up, turns around, and passes it over the bar to you.
Thanks. She winks at the barmaid and then winks at Limey.
Limey kind of gives her a half smile, like, yeah, okay, alright, settle down. The barmaid goes to ask for your cash, and Limey kind of just puts that to his throat. It's like, nah, don't worry about that, it's cool. She kind of just totters off down the bar.
Ghost drinks out the bottle.
Limey kind of looks at her and raises an eyebrow, like, can you do that? I had no idea.
He doesn't seem to be having any trouble drinking it.
He kind of just stares into his own drink mournfully before turns to you. So, you're here on business or pleasure?
When am I ever here on business?
Well, we are in business together. I hope some of the time.
All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy.
All work and no play makes Limey a very broke boy.
Money,
all
money, money.
Play and no work. All play and no work. Fucking about the same. He kind of rolls his eyes at his faux pas and then just sort of thinks, fuck it.
I just wanted to see how you were doing. I figure things will get busy later, so I'm expecting a call from Frank.
Yeah, so am I. And, I've got some business on in Harlem itself, so... In fact, yeah, have you got time for some business tonight?
Ghost takes out a little black book and flicks through it. She's sort of doing it mockingly because there's nothing written in the pages. I think so, yeah.
Kyle looks at you. Do you just keep it as a prop?
Yeah. I write stuff down in it sometimes when I remember.
He kind of rolls his eyes a little bit. And says, I've been thinking we should pay a visit to our friend Mr. Bronson. And if you remember, Bronson is the gang lord that they've recently had a bit of a dispute with.
She just sort of makes a grunting sound in response to your question. Yeah, if you want.
Good. It might get a little bit tasty. Do you know what I mean? You dig?
Yeah, I dig.
He sort of raises a brow at your sardonic use of the phrase. And he sort of shakes his head. Says, right, have you got any of your boys available? Because we might need to bring a bit of backup.
Yeah, I can sort that out, don't worry.
Good.
She gets out her cell phone and sends a text message, flicking her eyes in the direction of the two people that just entered the bar, the girl and the guy before. With sort of mild interest, so people that are sitting at the bar, she's...
Limey kind of follows her gaze. And, I don't know. Are either of you displaying any sort of interesting signs of emotion, or are you kind of cool? Are you doing anything in particular?
Well, Celia was sipping his drink, not as quickly as you'd expect, especially for how he looks at the drink every so often. But pulls out his cell phone, check the time, put it back.
Okay. No, he kind of gives him the once over. Um, and he looks at the golf side of the bar to his left.
Well, Isabel, she looks nervous a little bit. Like she really knows she's not in her element here. But she notices the guy's phone, and you might notice she's staring at that phone very intently.
Okay. I am actually going to roll a perception empathy on you, if that's okay.
Okay.
Let's see what the old clot has got. Okay, that's 2 successes. Basically, it's an empathy roll and a perception roll. Like, you're eyeing up his phone and you look a little bit nervous. I only got 2 successes, so just tell me a little bit how she's feeling and sort of what if she's giving off any obvious intention.
She's probably giving off a little bit of obvious intention that she kind of wants that phone. She doesn't. It seems like she's trying to hold back from wanting this phone, but she wants the phone.
I see. Okay. Lamy kind of nudges Red. Not Red.
Red?
That's that character.
Red is in California and cannot help you.
Look, I'm sorry, okay? Red is in California. Can't help you. No, he kind of nudges Ghost. He goes, "Oi, what's with that? What's with the little blonde thing?"
Ghost looks at Isabella and sort of scrunches her nose up a little bit. I don't know. He doesn't seem overly bothered by it.
Limey kind of turns away from her a little bit, and he says, "Yeah, but I wonder if she'll go for it or not. I wonder if she can."
Go for what?
Look, she likes it. Look at the way she's looking at the phone. I mean, I don't think she's admiring the latest model, do you?
Ghost shrugs.
No, let's see if she does it. Let's see if she does it. He's turned away from you, but every so often he will kind of glance at the girl out of the corner of his eye. And then he turns to Red and he's like, "I bet he catches her." Look.
Ghost seems generally. You get the impression from her that she's quite laid back
Yeah.
compared to her counterpart. She's not. She seems completely confident in her environment, completely at ease, not on edge at all.
Limey's pretty comfortable in this environment.
Yeah, I'm just saying that with Ghost, it sort of extends to almost overconfidence.
Oh, I see. So, sorry, back to you guys. We interrupted, didn't we?
Oh, it's fine.
No.
Go ahead, Dave.
No, go ahead.
If you're gonna steal the phone, then you need to roll like Dex.
Yeah,
Dex.
no.
Dex larceny? No, that's lockpicking, isn't it?
Sleight of hand, isn't it? It's a sleight of hand thing. Let me see what Limey's got, because I can pickpocket. Then again, you've played this game before. I mean, have you sort of...
Well, I've never stolen anything in this game before.
I see. Okay, right. It's okay. We'll help you through this.
I'd say it'll probably be Dex stealth.
Yeah, actually, Dex.
With David at normal difficulty and Sam at -1 difficulty to notice you because he's already clocked you looking at the phone.
Mhm.
I'd say. That makes sense.
Oh.
Wait, who's on -1?
You
For what?
to notice her stealing the phone because you're already looking at her.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
Already
yeah. Okay.
suspicious. Whereas David's character hasn't said that he's noticed her looking at it.
Okay, cool. Do it. Do it.
Um. So Isabel, she goes to stand up, and she sort of, as she stands up, she sort of jerks her arm a little bit so that her drink should go splashing onto Celio's jacket.
Okay, right. I'm not going to make you test for that. Right. Okay, man. You a concoction of ginger beer, lime, and vodka runs down your suit jacket.
Celia does the normal reaction of like raising your arms up and looking down, like, the hell?
And Isabel, she's like, oh, buddy, I'm so sorry about that. I tripped a little bit over the bar. She gets a napkin and she starts sort of, trying to dry his suit. And while she's doing that, I think you said you put your phone back in your pocket, right?
A little clip on the belt.
Clip on the belt. She,
So
Very nice.
it should be easier for you to grab.
You're so great.
my roll set up. Right. And while she's drying him, so trying to distract him with that, she'll be
Okay.
reaching for the phone with the other hand.
Okay. Oh no. 2 successes. Still,
One. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I saw the one. I was like, oh crap.
Oh no, because you 6, 8, 7, and a 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you got 2
Yeah.
successes.
So there are 3 successes, but a 1 cancelled 1 out, so you have 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now I think it'll be your perception alertness, mate.
Yeah. And I don't have as many dice as she does, so I'm thinking about spending a point of willpower to not have a 6-1.
He's got a good
As
stealth.
well.
It's true.
And make sure I'm rolling the right number.
Defender wins as well on tests, so if you equal her successes, then you notice.
Yeah. Alright. Is it displaying them or?
You click.
No, I'm not seeing yours.
Okay, right. If we can't see them, have you got Dice Stream activated?
You should be. I just used it.
You clicked roll.
Yep.
Give me a sec. Let me just try something. One roll. Nope, can't think of anything. Sorry, dude.
Well, it was 4 and 9 and 9.
Okay, 4, a 9, and a 9. Okay, right. Now, as this sort of cute little blonde thing's kind of wiping your jacket down, she's kind of nervously apologising. You sort of look down, just as you got your arms up, you kind of look down casually and notice her hand wrap around your phone and tug it.
And as he sees her going for his phone, he'll try to grab her forearm.
Okay, Dex.
I don't think that needs drying.
Eh? Huh?
Adding, I don't think that needs drying.
Well, needs a roll, or...
No drawing.
I was talking about the phone. Doesn't need a drying. Like,
Oh. I'm so sorry. Please continue.
alright. So what do you need to roll for that, Dave?
Dex.
Grab me.
I think it's Dex and Brawl for the grab.
Yeah, it is.
Alright.
So what do I roll against that?
Nothing yet. You see, because you actually you need to roll initiative. Sorry, it's combat.
No, because technically it will be a surprise round. I don't think we need to do initiative for this, because it's not a proper combat.
Okay.
Depends what's going to happen. If
Well-
they're gonna start, it depends whether
I think if
if they get into a grapple, and he's grabbing her and she's trying to get out, It's technically a combat round.
Well, yeah, but like this is kind of a surprise action, isn't it? It's because if she goes first, then what? She'll like see him try to grab her and move out the way.
If she wins her initiative, she'll see him go for her arm and be able to dodge as her action if she wants to. Whereas if he
I don't really mind if he just grabs my character's arm.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Also, you're just gonna let him grab you, like sort of just scene it out. Cool.
Yeah, I think I'll just let him do it. It'd be easier.
Yeah, I feel
Okay.
probably that's the case.
Alright, so if I don't have to roll, then he grabs her arm and goes, I don't think that needs drying.
She just she flinches a little bit as he grabs her arm, but she looks at him nervously, but then she goes, "Oh, right. Well, one time I dropped my phone into the toilet, and well, it ruined it, so I was just making sure that yours didn't get ruined." She obviously was lying to you.
Manipulation, subterfuge.
Yeah, I was gonna say he might fall for it.
Let's see.
Love subterfuge, brilliant skill.
He might. One, two, three, four, five, I think. 1, 2. Yeah, 5 successes.
Yeah.
2 times 2, 8, 7. Okay, yeah.
You didn't clear the top one though.
Huh?
You didn't clear the top line of
Oh.
dice rolled.
Oop.
So the bottom
Yeah,
line
but
is.
like, she still rolled first.
In the fairness though, you did get successes.
Oh.
Let me see.
Yeah, let's not make her re-roll them. Like she
No,
just.
no, that's fair enough. Yeah, you seem to lie convincingly.
Well, that seemed convincing, but sorry, I trailed off. It's as convincing as that is. He still doesn't want to take a chance of you going for that phone. Like, he might believe that you didn't try stealing the phone, but it may have also been a distraction for something else.
The pair of you now pique Ghost's interest because you're holding onto her arm.
Yeah.
Now he
So,
comes to Riley and says, "I knew I'd catch this stupid girl."
so instead, what he does is, fine. I can understand that. What do you do with the phone since your hand is still around it?
Probably lets it go. Big crap.
And as soon as you let go, he'll let go. Let's go of your arm, and motions to the seat next to him. and all he says is sit, and I have to roll for dominate.
I'd like to make a perception roll for Liney to notice the proceedings.
Okay.
Okay. Guys?
Huh?
Yeah, I was waiting for you to roll.
Oh, I was seeing if it was okay. Like,
Yeah, I had no problem with it.
The successes are cancelled out. Limey kind of just sort of like it's almost like he loses his cool for a minute and kind of stares at you a bit and zones out, and then he kind of shakes his head. He kind of just pulls his hat down a little bit. Like,
And I have 3 successes on dominate.
that's against your willpower, homie.
Roll that. Hold on. Back to my sheet.
The difficulty equals her willpower. So what's your willpower?
Yeah, that was. My willpower is 3, so.
Well, that's 7 successes then.
Well, she sits her ass down.
Ghost raises an eyebrow and looks at Limey. Because it's kind of odd. Dominate is quite obvious.
It's like a bolt. You'll be like, boom, sit down, bolt
If
straight away.
someone said to you, sit down or sit, you'd be like, you'd be like hesitant. At least for a second, but with Dominate, it's like, okay.
It also requires eye contact, so I looked her right in the eye as I did it.
Well, I failed my perception roll.
I'll roll 1, for goodness sake. Ghost notices.
And you can't nudge me there.
She stood up at this point, and she raises an eyebrow at Limey, and then...
Yeah, like Limey kind of cottons on, sort of slouches up and kind of props himself on the bar. Yeah, puts out his cigarette.
Oh.
Weird.
Ghost's immediately on the defense. She's slightly more on edge now, because if that is what she thinks it is, then it's a vampire ability, and she no longer knows what side vampires are on around here.
Yeah.
So her body language becomes a little bit more rigid.
Limey's kind of like, kind of slouched.
But
I don't know, like, but he sort of like, he is a bit like, yeah, maybe that is worrying. But he's just watching, like, for now, like, got his drink in his hand.
Just gets out her phone and sends a text message.
Should I roll to see the reaction to what I did? Because I'm assuming most people wouldn't react.
No, you wouldn't be used to people noticing you using Dominate, that's for sure. Humans don't tend to notice.
Yeah.
It's something you only really notice if you know what it is.
Yeah. So I don't need to roll, or I do need to roll?
Forget it. Don't bother to roll. You've noticed that it's quite obvious that Ghost is the girl that seemed quite lively and relaxed is flicking her eyes to you more intently, and her body language is a little bit more closed off.
Celio just, when he notices this, he just offers a smile and raises his glass as if saying, cheers, and takes another sip.
Okay.
Limey kind of raises an eyebrow, a bit smiling.
Ghost drinks out of her bottle, and she's still texting on her phone because I need to find the right person to message.
Who are you texting? Wait, Ghost. Wait, who are you texting?
I don't know. I was going to text Saskia, but she's disappeared.
Oh.
I might. Carry on, guys. Ignore me for the minute. Ghost is texting.
Cool. You guys do your thing.
Okay.
Carry on.
Isabel, she sort of looks over at Celio, and it's pretty obvious what happened, and she's just kind of like, okay. how did you do that? But she motions to his phone and she just tries to play it off a little bit. And she's like, "Oh, so that the new droid or what?" She tilts her head.
And before he answers, he pulls his phone out and takes a look at it and goes, I think so. And puts it away. Just got it recently.
She nodded.
And
Okay.
he motions over to the waitress and motions to Isabel's glass and goes, she needs a refill. I seem to be wearing her drink.
The barmaid kind of looks at you and says, "Fetch him." And then goes and makes another drink. Passes it across the bar, looks expectantly for the money. An unspecified amount of money.
Again, he just pays in cash.
Rolls it back through, notices the female company, sneers because she knows she's not going to get a tip, and walks back off down the bar. Yeah.
Oh. Oh,
So-
Isabel. Sorry, I didn't know. Didn't mean to interrupt.
You can see that. Ghost is texting Lady Sheridan. Limey.
Oh, she's texting Lady Sheridan. Okay. And like, can I just look at what she's texting, or would you like me to roll something, or?
No, you can look at it. She's saying, are you available?
I don't need that away.
She puts her phone away, and she's noticing the tense silence between the two individuals now that are sat next to one another at the bar. She goes over to the jukebox and puts a quarter in. I assume this place has a jukebox because it's a jazz club.
When the bands aren't playing, yeah.
And she selects a song by the Coasters.
Well, the coasters. Nice.
Yeah, it's just to sort of break the silence a little bit. Ghost isn't very comfortable with a lot of silence. You notice she always tries to fill it by saying something.
What did the coasters do again? What kind of what songs did they do?
Down in Mexico, Poison Ivy,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Down in Mexico plays. She wore a red bandana.
Now with audio accompaniment. Yeah, so what's going on? You guys just staring at each other?
Basically. Isabel just kind of nods at him, and she's like, I'm kind of really into technology, so I noticed your phone right away. She shrugged a little bit. Sorry again about the whole, spilling all over your jacket. Pretty nice jacket. Sorry if it ruined it or something. She kind of scratches her head a little and gives a sheepish look before she takes a sip, and doesn't seem like she likes it. The drink.
Have you got the ability to eat food?
No. So she probably really shouldn't even be putting that in her mouth. But
Red, what
You can
happens?
spend willpower to drink and eat for a little while.
You can keep it down temporarily.
yeah, I figured I'm just gonna, let me spin that whole point then, and she can do that so she doesn't spew it up on him this time. She doesn't seem to like the taste very much. And she sits it back down. But she's,
he puts his drink down after a while, and he's only had that one drink that you've seen,
Mhm.
and he doesn't look like he's handling it very well.
So, fellow lightweight, then? She nudges him playfully.
He goes, not particularly.
Hmm.
It's weird.
This is like Ghost says to me, this is weird. Like, what's going
Yeah,
on?
it was, I don't know. It's all. She tried to steal his phone, and now they're making awkward small talk. Bit square for this kid, if you ask me.
Ah, I miss the days of just stabbing somebody for their phone.
What? Kind of looks at Ghost like.
I don't
He
know
looks
if
wistful.
to hear that, or...
Yeah, you can. No, Ghost doesn't speak particularly quietly. You can hear it. She's not standing that far away from you.
Isabel just kind of snaps her head in her direction.
She's got a grin. She's got a grin on her face. You can't really tell, just on face value, whether she's joking or whether she's serious.
There's a lithe relic next to her, kind of giving her a quizzical look, like, right.
Hmm.
And CeeLo just looks at the two of you like he doesn't really know what to make of you. You noticed what he did when no one else did. One of you, as you put, looks like a relic, and the other one just made a comment about stabbing someone.
Limey kind of looks at him, kind of furrows his brow. He kind of nods at him, like, what's it says? Hey, want to take a picture? Boss, it might last a little longer, you know what I'm saying?
And he just says, if you insist, pulls out his phone, takes a picture.
Are you serious? Oh, nah, hell no.
Isabel leaves.
Limey kind of opens his mouth and kind of looks at you and raises an eyebrow. And then gets off his seat and sort of strides down the bar. And suddenly, like, because he looks a little bit like kind of a bit of a shuffler when you first see him, but his shoulders go back and he kind of marches down the bar to you. He kind of leans down a little bit and kind of looks you in the eye and he's like, "Do you want to fucking delete that?" Wait, come on, wait, talking to you. Do you want to delete that?
And he just puts his thumb over it to like slide over to where the pictures are. He goes, if it really upsets you that much, sure.
Yeah, it does.
And you see it's the only picture on that phone, and he hits the delete button right in front of you, so you see it happen.
Okay. So he looks at the phone and he's like, right. You're like an interesting sort. It doesn't look like you come around here much. So, yeah. But this is weird. I'm just going to throw it out there. This is weird between you two. What's that? He says sit, you sit down. She tries to steal your phone. You don't do anything about it. What are you? You are like what?
I prefer to handle things.
Huh?
Huh?
I didn't hear what you said.
Isabel chimes in very loudly. I didn't try to steal shit.
He kind of looks down at you and raises a skeptical eyebrow, and he's like, I've been doing this for quite a while. Thank you. And he kind of looks back at the guy.
Who just looks at Isabel and says, no, he didn't say you tried stealing shit. He said you tried stealing a phone.
She glares
Big
at
difference.
Elio. I don't like you.
Ghost leans over the bar, hands the barmaid a cigarette and $20, and says, "Take a break, sweetheart." And the barmaid disappears.
And he turns to the relic, who's now kind of in his face, but he's really relaxed. And he goes, I just try to handle things without the use of violence. She said she didn't try to steal it. Her story seemed believable, so I told her sit down. And then he points at her drink and goes, her drink was empty.
Lari kind of looks at him and says, "What? Are you some sort of mug? I don't understand."
Mug. Are you mugging me off, bruv?
He sort of, alright, but he backs out your face and he says, "But despite that, I'm not a man of violence either. I just don't like having my photo taken." And he kind of seems to calm down. I just don't like having a photo taken. Especially not in my own gaff, you know what I mean?
I guess I can appreciate that. He goes, we have to admit, it was pretty funny.
It was kind of funny. And Ghost takes off her jacket, and it's covered from like shoulder to elbow in tattoos. And I'm not going to bother to make you roll. You can see she's got the Bruges clan symbol tied on her arm.
Alright. He's
It's
still
quite evil.
Good.
She doesn't seem to have a point in taking her jacket off. Perhaps she was getting ready for the fight if it was going to happen. But once it dies down, she looks a little bit disappointed and goes back to swigging her drink.
When Silvio sees the Bruja mark, he looks like he should know that, but the name is like slipping his mind. So he's kind of like, it's just that look like you recognize something, but you don't remember from where.
Roll to discern your reaction to the tattoo. No successes again.
So he just looks like he just can't place it. Like he should know it, but he doesn't. And he just kind of shrugs it off after a moment and says, "But this is your place." And he motions to everything.
In a sense, yes. Think of me as an investor.
He nods a little bit and goes, "I like the setup."
Not bad. Well, we don't usually see many, and he looks at the phone in the wallet and the expensive watch and says, "We don't really get too many of you Wall Street types in this way."
And he holds up one hand and says, "X Wall Street."
Ah, right, ex-yuppie, I see. Interesting. Look like you've had a hard day. Is that something to do with the X?
You could say that. He says, "Let's just say you're right. I am new to this area."
Harlem, you're very out of the way. He looks at the girl, Isabel. He says, "What about you, Blondie? You're shaking. You're almost shaking with nervousness when you first walked in. What brings you to a place like this?"
Oh, well, she just kind of, she seems to pause for a minute as if she's trying to come up with a good alibi. And she just shrugs and she's like, "Oh, well, it looked like it was about to rain outside, so I just kind of ducked in here because I didn't want to get all wet and ruin my nice clothes." She says sarcastically, motioning to, again, her sort of grungy looking t-shirt and jeans. But, Do I need to like roll? I think. What was it again? Manipulate for that? Since she's lying.
Manipulation subterfuge against my perception subterfuge.
Yes.
Shit, 1 success.
2 successes.
Oh, you have a 1 there.
Oh
One
shit. Yeah, didn't notice that. So 1 success.
Yeah, defender wins. So.
And since I'm in relatively close proximity, I'm gonna roll.
You see Ghost in the background. She's on the phone. She gets a phone call.
Yeah, I got 2 successes. 4 and 2 6s.
Okay, we both know I'm a fucking liar. Okay.
Limey kind of cocks his eyebrow at you, and then pulls up a seat with his foot and kind of unbuttons his jacket as he sits there and says, "Oh, I can smell a lie like a fart in a lift."
She just kind of gives him a look, and she's like, "Well, then get some Febreze," because she takes a drink nervously and then sits down.
I really hope that you don't have low self-control, Sam.
I've got really high self-control.
Because someone laughing at you like that is technically a frenzy test.
Yeah, well, I bristle. I don't think I have to take a frenzy test. Like,
I'm not gonna make you take a frenzy test. I was just like hoping that your self-control was good.
I've got like 5 self-control. It's all cool.
Who cares then?
Okay.
It's still gonna piss you off.
Oh yeah. No. Okay. Work with me here. You're both just a little bit sus, you get me? Why did you come in here?
I think she was kind of. Oh, go ahead.
When you ask why he came in here, you just hold up the drink.
And Isabel just kind of shrugs again, and she goes, "Like I said, trying to get out of the weather." But she glances down a little, and you'll notice she's kind of like touching her pocket a little bit as if to make sure something is still in there. Then goes back to taking a sip of her drink.
He kind of smiles, and he leans into you a little bit, and he says, "What's in your pocket, sweetheart?"
She kind of.
He said, "Activating presence 1."
Oh shit! Oh. She'll reach into her pocket and very, very slowly, and it's odd. What she pulls out is a pen. But it has it looks like it came from like a bank because it has like their logo on it, whatever the local bank is, and their number. And there's a little bit of a chain attached to it, like they usually do on like their clipboards and things, so you don't steal the pen.
He kind of looks dumbfounded and looks at the pocket to see if there's anything else in there.
No, that's all it is. It's just her pen.
He kind of shakes his head incredulously and then just shuts up. Like, he has no words.
She just kind of gives him a look like, "What?" And then she says, "I wanted it. I couldn't help it." And she put it back in her pocket. It's mine now.
Do you know what? I don't think they're mine. And he recognizes the obvious signs of kleptomania. Meanwhile, Limey kind of looks at Ghost and sort of raises an eyebrow and he says, Yeah, he sort of nods at her and he says like, what do you call it?
She hangs up the phone and she says, "Oh, I just heard from Frank.
Frank?
Yeah, he'll be along later to pick us up."
Limey kind of nods at her and kind of gives her a little wink. Of course, she's behind him, so he's facing away from you guys. Um, but he turns back to the two of them and he says, "So, and I got 3 successes on presents. So you're kind of a little bit drawn to me, and a little bit, you're more kind of interested in possibly what I have to say, or like a little bit more sociable. You almost like him a little bit more. You know. But it's only mild, so that it's not really like an obvious discipline." He kind of turns to
No.
he kind of turns to Celia and he says, "So what about you? You look like you've had a hard day, man. What a long face."
It was, well, as I said, ex-Wall Street. Had to leave everything behind. Decided to come to New York, take a look around.
It's an interesting time and an interesting neighborhood, certainly. What prompted the move?
He just,
Upstairs of Limely's particular establishment, known as the Coal Bar, right?
Cole's cellar.
Gold Cellar. Yep.
Cole.
The Coal Cellar. One kindred by the name of Frank Green will go ahead and make his presence known to the front staff, at least. And say simply that he is here to meet with Ghost.
Sorry, mate. Can you repeat that?
Alright, can do so. Frank Green arrives at the cellar bar in none too much haste. Apparently he might have been in the neighborhood or something like that. And he simply goes to the front entrance and talks to the front staff about seeing his friend Ghost.
Yeah, the bouncer just kind of, he remembers you from last time, and he kind of smiles and nods and says, "Go on in."
Alright. He does so, with whatever security or other parameters you want to go ahead and throw at him.
Right now, look, you see a couple of heavies hanging around the top of the stairs. A perception roll might like reveal a bulge in their jacket somewhere.
I assume they already are carrying.
Yeah, like Frank Green's smart enough to know these guys are probably carrying. But apart from that, big heavy double doors at the top and bottom of the stairs. Apart from that, yeah, nothing. The bar's just as you remember it. Not quite as busy as last time, but there's still a fair few punters around. And at the bar, you see Ghost stood behind Limey, who's talking to individuals who stand out a little bit.
Alright. Frank Green isn't going to try to interrupt the conversation. In fact, he'll try to act fairly sly by first approaching on the Ghost side. Seemed to just be an interested friend. He has gone ahead and blushed up for the evening, spending a point of blood to go ahead and look human.
Okay, nice.
Ghost sees Frank and she sees him like sort of try and blend in with the scene, and she pats him on the when he gets close enough to her, she sort of gives him a friendly pat on the shoulder. Like you can see like her head dip very slightly as if to go in the direction of Celia Rossi, the man in the suit at the bar.
Well, Frank Green is just going to simply say, "Caroline, it's so good to see you. Who are these people?"
Limey kind of turns, and he almost seems like you can tell he's almost about to say, "Who the hell is Caroline?" And then he kind of sees Frank, and he kind of inclines his head a little bit, like, "What?"
she says, "Oh, yeah, good to see you too. Oh, just having a drink after work. I don't really know these people apart from, you know, Grumpy Britches over there." She nods in the direction of Limey.
Ah, Grumpy Britches. I didn't know that was her nickname for you. You look delightful.
It's not a nickname. I've never actually been called that in my life. But I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Oh, I'm fantastic. I just got off work, actually. And Caroline over here sent me a quick text. So I'm wondering where the hell the relaxer goes to. Where in the world is this party going to get started?
Hmm.
Ghost,
Well,
Ghost goes behind the bar and gets some. Just helps herself to some bottles and starts pouring a few drinks.
Limey looks at her like, "Will you get out from behind the fucking bar?"
Ghost just grins even wilder because she knows that even though you are annoyed at her, you can't break the facade for this scenario, so she can just get it later.
Yeah.
She's taking full advantage of this.
Yes, it's good to see you. I guess the party. I was actually sat here alone when you guys showed up. So
I don't know. It just seems like rather depressing to just sit here alone in like this big room. We have someplace else to go, someplace with like couches.
couches. Is that? Are you trying to imply something out of character? Are you trying to sort of imply something by the couches or what? Right.
I'm trying to imply that, hey, we've been to back rooms before. Let's go to a back room. I'm just a normal ass person.
Yeah. Let's go into the yeah. Limey kind of raises it. Sorry, I couldn't tell. I can't see your face there. Like, he kind of like smiles and sort of raises an eyebrow and says, "Yeah, sure. Yeah, the barmaid usually lets me go. We can go back there." He kind of gets up and steps out of his seat, then looks back at Celio and Isabella, and he says, "Would you care to join us? You look like you've had a rough day. You might want to relax in a slightly more chilled setting." Big.
And in a little bit of a quieter tone, so just you and Isabel could hear, he says, "I don't think we have much of a choice." And he gets up.
Isabel looks nervous, but she just nods and hops up from her seat and almost spills her drink again, this time on accident, but she's careful. She puts it down on the bar.
Yeah, Limey picks up his drink and leads the party into the back room left of the stage. Uh, in this back room, there are there's three long couches in the corner of the room around like a coffee table, and a couple of sort of armchairs dotted around and that kind of thing. There's a couple of sort of cupboards and there's a radio and a record player and that kind of thing. But you notice that the door is quite heavy, like it's got quite a heavy bolt on it, and it has some stairs leading upwards at the end of the room. Sort of out in the hallway, there's like a door. And Limey kind of plonks himself down on one of the couches and lights a cigarette. He says, "Please sit down."
Frank Green will simply hold the door open for these ladies and gentlemen, grinning ear to ear.
Celia will walk in and take a seat somewhere.
Isabel kind of scoots into the room and sits sort of a little bit away from Celio.
Ghost walks in and she's carrying a tray full of bottles and shot glasses and pretzels and peanuts and all sorts of things she's managed to acquire from behind the bar in the last 5 minutes. And she She looks at Isabella and says, "Good girl, stay." Before sitting down, sort of reclining into one of the chairs and sipping from the bottle again.
All right. Once the people are mostly in the room, Frank Green goes ahead and he shuts the door quite deliberately, actually, with a final inch just being it slammed in.
Would you bolt the door, Frank?
He does, in fact, bolt the door.
Good, good. He kind of props himself up on the couch. He says, now, pleased to meet you. What are your names?
And he'll just say, "My name is Celio Rossi."
Nice to meet you.
And
Blondie?
she just gives him a look and she says, Isabel Hale.
Mike kind of gives up. He sort of actually cracks, like his quite solemn, stoic face cracks a small smile and he says, "It's a pleasure." And he kind of nods at Frank and he says, "Yeah, saw something quite interesting. I expect Ghost thought you might want to take a look."
So, what's the situation I'm currently looking at? He says at the two people he doesn't know, watching them, just to see if they make any sudden moves.
Actually, shit. Could I have? I wouldn't mind if, having made a perception roll to see if you guys were breathing at some point. Would that be okay?
Perception
Go for
awareness.
Dice stream, perception awareness. Come on. 2 successes. Are you guys trying to cover it, or?
It looks
Isabel-
more like Celio's been forgetting occasionally.
Same with Isabel. It seems like she's forgetting, like sometimes she'll exaggerate it sometimes.
What's well, your humanity score affects it. If you got 7, sometimes it's a little bit harder, but if you get down to about 6, it becomes more obvious.
Oh, well, she's got an 8, so.
Oh, you actually look human.
Oh,
Very
yay.
much so, even without blood buffing.
Oh, good.
I have a 6, so.
You are the one that sort of forgets.
Says,
Yeah.
So here's the deal. Me and Ghost were minding our own business at the end of the bar. I noticed this little thing here. Try and steal Mr. Wall Street over here's phone. Stupid girl goes and gets herself caught. They enter into some sort of bizarre dialogue where they made dreadful small talk with one another. He forgets to breathe, and when she sat down, it was the result of a single word order, as Ghost pointed out to me. Sit, I believe, is the word.
She sat down rather abruptly. It was quite funny.
Yeah. Like a very well trained little pooch.
You calling me a bitch? She glares.
He sort of does look at her and he says, "My dear, if I call you a bitch, I'll just call you a bitch."
Right. So, Mr. Rossi, you know this woman?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Mr. Cilio, do you know this woman here? As he points to Isabel.
Beyond the girl that spilled her drink on my jacket? Not really.
Spilled my drink.
And he looks to Isabel as well. Isabel, do you know this man?
She shakes her head no.
Fair enough. Would each of you like a drink? Is he pointing to the refreshments in front of him?
Isabel passes on the drink. And she shakes her head. Again. She seems kind of nervous, though.
What
Oh,
kind of
and
drinks
Frank-
are being offered?
Alcohol. Just straight whiskey, alcohol, beer, that kind of thing.
It's a bit of everything from behind the bar. Ghost is really pushing her luck.
Ghost,
And
knock it off.
What?
and Celio looks like he knows he shouldn't from how he was reacting earlier. But he shrugs and goes, "I'll take a drink."
Go ahead. You have your choice.
And he pours himself a glass of whiskey.
And he watches you.
Again, he's
Well,
not handling this drink. He takes his drink, and again, he looks like he's having a hard time with the drink.
So he actually imbibes.
Yes.
You want to go ahead and roll a perception awareness roll on that one?
Me? What? Or him?
Yes, yes.
No! That didn't go quite to plan.
Nothing ever goes quite to plan. Ah, crap. I only have 2. I'll go ahead and spend willpower on this one. If I can get dice string up. Yay! This is important. 1, 2, 3. Okay, with 3 successes on that, Frank Green notices that you're having a hard time actually imbibing the liquid. He sees that you actually have to force it down your throat, which is just one little bit more piece of evidence in his little back pocket. Right. Do me a favor, Mr. Celio. Just sit there for a second. He goes ahead and turns towards Isabel and simply says, "Isabel, what are we doing here this fine evening?"
Isabel just kind of shrugs, and she knows she can't use the weather lie again, so she just simply tells the truth. I stole a pen from the bank. I panicked, and I ran in here to hide.
You
He
stole
looks at Frank and says, I know, it's preposterous.
Fucking hell.
What?
Right.
I'm bored now. Let's.
Take a drink.
What is really going on?
Take a drink, Isabel. Just go ahead and take a drink. It's been a long day for you, I'm very, very sure. And he's looking at you rather intensely when he says, "Go ahead and take a drink." He's not using any discipline or whatever. He's just using the force of his personality.
Ghost
Well,
looks at me.
she'll grab something, and I'm not really sure what. I guess rum. I'll pick. And she takes a drink, and she also seems to have a little bit of a hard time getting it down, but it could just be that she just doesn't like the taste.
It could be. But, yeah. Frank Green's looking at you, looks to the others. He knows for a fact that none of them have the second sight to go ahead and verify things. But what Frank Green does, he just goes ahead, takes a pen, takes a piece of paper, writes down a number on it, gives it to Isabel, and simply says, "You shoot. But don't go too far away, okay? We have to have a conversation with this man."
Okay. She looks at the number and just kind of arches a brow and then scurries out of the room.
Just stay. He actually goes ahead, unbolts the door, points to one of the chairs at the bar, and says, "Sit over there."
Okay, then. She goes over to the bar and gives them all a weird look as she leaves and sits down.
Right. As soon as she goes ahead and gets sit down, he goes ahead and closes the door again, looks to Mr. Stilio and says, "Okay, enough with the bullshit. It's just us here. What's your name? What's your clan?"
He goes, "I didn't hand you a fake name because I figured there may have been some way to see through that. But Ventrue.
Go figure.
Letter of invitation.
And just pulls something out, like he pulls a piece of paper out of his jacket, and it's signed by his sire, Evelyn Knight, telling him to go to this city.
Frank Green goes ahead and takes the letter of invitation, just examines it for a little bit. Yeah. He goes ahead and hands it back to you and simply says, okay, this is what I want you to do. I want you to present yourself to the primogen of your clan as soon as possible. Can we do that?
Sure.
Oh, may I introduce Mr. Rossi, Mr. Frank Green, Sheriff of New York City.
And he tips his head a little bit and says, that's what I figured your position was. And he motions over to Ghost and says, when you came in, went straight to her, looked like she called for reinforcements or backup of some sort, so... He just goes back to relaxing.
Well, it's always best to get a second opinion. Frankly, my powers of observation have failed me a little bit tonight. Apart from the breathing thing.
No harm done.
May I also introduce Ghost, sort of acting leader, primogen, Clan Brugen.
Now you see like a little bit of a click in his head, like, oh, that's where I saw that name, or that's where I saw that symbol.
And myself,
So, Mr. Cilio, how long have we been in the city? A matter of hours, I assume, right?
You'd be correct in that assumption.
Okay. What do you do?
Well, I used to run an online business. Now, that's kind of over.
Really? How's it over?
Well, upon my disappearance, the bank froze all of my assets.
Do. Really now? Really?
Do you want me to get
So, what? This is a computer business. This online business. Why you disappeared? Did you? Your sire didn't really take too much of pains to try to explain away your disappearance and recover the assets that you may have lost during your embrace?
And he thinks about that for a moment and just says, I think it was to get someone else in control of the assets, honestly.
So he went ahead and, or she, or whoever this sire was, went ahead and did a shuffleboard operation on you and a few of your assets, leaving you much indebted to her, I assume.
Yep.
Fair enough. How long ago was that?
It was about a week ago. Since then she's been teaching me a few things. Just enough so I wouldn't come here and immediately burn up in the sun or something stupid.
Okay. What is your city of origin then?
And he says, there's a little city right outside of Vegas.
Oh, Rio. I know it. Little city right outside of Vegas, Rio. Online company. I'll have to ask you if I've seen any of your advertisements or not. You've been a week, and your sire sent you off here to New York. Well, I'm sorry to say, but your sire hates you. New York is not a great place at the moment.
Really isn't. Guys, can I quickly cut away to bring Deborah in, and I need to run something quickly with the young Isabel. Is that okay?
Go ahead.
Okay, cool. Debs, character pulling up.
Yep.
Okay, right. The location you've been given. I'll give the abridged version. As you walk up to this, it's one of the nicer parts of Harlem. There's red neon lettering over quite a plain-looking doorway that says Cole's Cellar in like red neon. On the door, there's a bouncer. He'll let you in. You know, you don't like trouble. There's a couple of guys gathered around the top of a long stairwell that leads downwards, and the lighting becomes very dim in this hallway. As you go down, you walk into an open, very dimly lit bar with like heavy sort of blacks and browns and deep burgundies being the main theme. Big bar on the left-hand side, lots of brass and mahogany. There's a dance floor in the middle, like oak kind of dance floor, with lots of seats and tables and booths around. And yeah, it's like very dimly lit, and there's a stage at the end with two doors on either side of it.
And Lady Sheridan will make her way downstairs to the back room, seeing as she's been given the text from Ghost that is where to take it head.
Right. When you get there, there is a girl stood by the door listening, sort of what looks like listening, with two men walking up to her. At which point, I'm going to cut to Isabel. Right.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, right, as you listen at the door, just while you're kind of looking away, like sort of leaning against it, maybe you've got your head resting on it so you can hear what's coming through. Two men walk up to you, both wearing kind of like European-style suits, like but quite casual, top button undone, that kind of thing. You know, one of them's wearing like an overcoat, the other one's wearing like sort of just like his suit open. And this guy grabs you by the arm, not forcefully, but he sort of just takes your arm. He says, sort of turns to look at you, brings you round to look at him, and sort of quite forcefully says, "What do you think you're doing?"
And she just kind of bluntly says, "Listening in, actually, but I guess you caught me."
Quite sorry, I did roll perception checks for this, by the way. They both got like 4 successes. But he kind of grabs you and he quite roughly pulls you back from the door. He says, "Well, it says private on it, doesn't it?"
Is there a problem here, gentlemen?
Yeah, pretty big problem actually. This one doesn't seem to know how to mind her own business.
I see. She'll reach past the three of them and knock on the door.
Okay, right. There is a knock on the door.
Ghost gets up and answers it.
Do you happen to recognise this lady?
Yeah, she was in here before. We told her to wait outside.
Told us to wait at the end of the bar, didn't we?
She seemed to be intent on hearing what might be happening inside. Your gentleman here, we're having a disagreement with her over it.
and they kind of they stand sort of respectfully back in the room and don't look in. And Limey kind of looks at Frank and he says, "What do we let her in, or do my boys push her back down to the bar?"
Well, with Lady Sheridan here, things become a little bit less complicated. So let's bring her in. If our suspicions are correct, well then, no harm, no foul. If we're wrong, well then we have Little Miss Proper here.
Good, good. Boys, don't worry about the girl. Yeah, just let her in. And, like he kind of looks you in the eye before kind of sort of like flinging your arm down, like a bit of a bruiser. And the two guys kind of step back and walk away.
She sticks her tongue out at them. And,
Really?
yeah.
Is this who you were contacting me about? She'll say to Ghost.
Ghost points to the other man in the suit.
I see. Looks mildly relieved at this.
Frank Green actually has one last trick in his bag. It's what he used last time. When he sees that Isabel is being brought in, he's just gonna go ahead and look at her and bring to full bear his own gangrel beast, the animalistic beast of Animalism 3 to full bear against Isabel at this moment, trying to force that very, very primal, feral presence at her. But since Animalism 3 doesn't really affect kindred beasts in the same way it affects mortal beasts, Isabel, you feel Frank. He's looking at you rather intensely, this intense, imposing figure, but then something exudes out from him, radiates out from him in sort of an aura, but it doesn't seem to necessarily cow you. You have a feeling that this kind of feral beast would cow other mortals very, very easily.
And she just kind of, she looks at him. She's a little bit taken aback by that, and she's not quite used to this yet, so it's very new to her, and she just kind of tilts her head, and she almost just bluntly asks, "What are you?"
Right. Seeing not the reaction that he really wants after a few seconds of this, he simply says, "This one has a beast."
Oh, good, good. That clears up that issue.
Time to close the door, bolt the door, and we have all kindred within the room. Fantastic, everybody. Congratulations. I'd like to shake all of your hands for getting to this point in the scene.
Nice one. Oh, wait. Where did Lisa go?
It's a good thing we got Deborah and what's his face to talk to. They're Ventrue. They should go off and talk about Ventrue things for a little bit.
Well, at that point, yeah. Speaking of which, Limey stands up and he sort of says, "Lady Sheridan, may I introduce you to Celio Rossi of Clan Ventrue? Celio Rossi of Clan Ventrue, may I introduce you to Lady Sheridan, Primogen of Clan Ventrue here in New York. I expect you have a lot to talk about."
Pleasure to meet you.
I assure you the pleasure's all mine. And just kind of looks around at everyone. A little surprised that things got to this point, but
Might I ask what brings you to the city?
he says, "Well, my sire sent me here. I'm not entirely sure as to why, but she must have her reasons."
I see. Is it at all likely I might know your sire? Or have heard of her?
I'm sorry, I had the AC running. What was that?
Is it at all likely I might know your sire or have heard of her?
And he says, well, her name was Evelyn Knight. Don't know if that rings a bell.
Not that I can recall.
He's got a letter.
I see. Can I read it?
Yeah, as you were asking, he pulls it out and hands it over.
Thank you. And she'll give it a quick read over. Presumably everything's in order. It's just kind of a letter of introduction, I assume.
Yeah.
Splendid. Have you arranged lodgings while you're here?
I said, yeah, I bought a little place just outside of town.
Outside. Outside of New York entirely?
No, closer to the edge, like by the suburbs. It's incredibly hard to find a house inside the city.
It certainly can be. I should warn you, we do have some neighbours of the metaphysical variety, some of which are, well, somewhat less tolerant of our presence than others. Should it not be too inconvenient, you may want to relocate towards Wall Street.
Ah, see, back to Wall Street, eh?
I'm not, but it is Ventrue territory.
Oh, I was just talking about Mr. Rossi here, who has fallen afoul of the market recently.
Ah. Well, I am I'm greatly saddened to hear that. I hope that you will find your fortunes reversed quite quickly.
I'll think of something. I can be resourceful if I need to be.
Excellent. Resourcefulness is always important in a clanmate.
Ghost looks bored. He's looking between Frank Green and Imogen. Isabel, even, sorry.
Frank Green is just keeping his eye on Isabella, as if he's waiting for any sudden movements.
Limey's stuck between the entire thing, wondering why the hell this has all had to happen inside his domain. He stares into his brain.
I will recommend avoiding the Bronx and Central Park. Indeed, staying predominantly within Manhattan seems to be a good plan, aside from, as I said, Central Park. You will need to show this letter to the prince at his earliest convenience.
Alright, I can do that.
And she'll give a small smile.
Perhaps you two could catch up on Venture Affairs and sort of discuss this introduction to the prince privately between yourselves, possibly at one of your own havens.
Of course. If you'd care to come with me to my haven, you are quite welcome. But before we consider departing, this young lady you seem to be a little bit puzzled about? Is there anything I can do to help?
Limey looks to Frank Green, kind of exasperated by this point.
Frank Green just goes ahead and leans into Isabel, simply says, name, plan.
And she just kind of stares at him for a minute, and then she says, Isabel Fanio, like I already told you. And Malkavian.
Okay, then that would explain the compulsion to steal pens from banks.
Hey,
Yeah.
you never have too many pins.
Okay.
I see. Do you have Rick's contact details? She'll ask Limey.
Yes, of course I have Mr. Grayson's details. I'd be happy to put you two in contact.
Excellent.
You like Mr. Grayson, very interesting man. He seems, by interesting, there seems to be something vaguely implied, but he says very talented author.
She nods. And how should I get in contact with him?
Well, I have his number. I'll try and introduce you tonight, and if not, then I'll make sure he has your number so he can contact you.
Sounds good.
Well, I think that's about that.
Oh, I did forget to say, and he looks between the two newcomers, first extending his hand to Celia and says, "You call me Limey, Clanbrugia, Harpy," and he kind of sticks his hand out.
Celia will shake your hand.
And he kind of nods to Isabel.
She nods back.
For your reference, Mr. Rossi, I'm not certain quite how much of an introduction you've had so far, but our dear Mr. Green here is the sheriff.
You already know.
Quite a reliable man, so far as I can tell, during my time in the city.
You learn a
Ghost.
few tricks.
Ghost functioned as his hound and is of the Brugia persuasion.
Persuasion. Guess you used to find this very amusing.
In
Yeah.
fact, all three of them are I credit to their clan. Of course, this young lady I do not know.
That's first what you'd say.
So, if we are not needed for anything further,
Oh no, please, no, please. Do your thing.
excellent. Mr. Rossi,
Yes.
she'll gesture towards the door. Shall we?
Of course. He gets up, and there's a half second of a pause before he sets the drink down and goes to leave.
There's a flower pot in the corner of the room that's calling to you right now. Like, you need to. If you don't have the eat food merit, you're gonna have to throw that thing up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Might want to excuse yourself for a moment.
yeah. I'd actually forgotten about that. Like, I forgot that he would have to at this point. And just as he's going to head out the door, he goes, "Give me one moment." And are there signs saying where the restrooms are?
Yeah.
He'll head to one of them.
It's a nice bathroom to throw up in. You know, it's nice.
Well, if we're all finished doing what we were doing, because Ghost has been looking quite distracted for the past 20 minutes or so. She's fiddling with a drink. I think we've got things to do. She looks at both Frank Green and Limey.
Yeah.
Yes,
we
yes. We do. He looks towards Isabel and simply says, "You think you could walk all the way over, or at least to a payphone and contact your brother and sister in the city, or do we have to go ahead and escort you? Because if I have to go ahead and escort you, my night gets very, very dumb very, very quickly."
Isabel just arches a brow and goes, "No, I can take a hint and I can go." She turns to Limey and says, "What was his number to the person I need to contact?" She tilted her head.
His name is Rick Grayson. You'll recognize him. He's an author. I'll let him know that you're looking for him. Give me a number. Okay.
She just kind of says a number.
He hands her a piece of paper and says, "You have a pen."
No, see, I told you this would come in handy. She hands it out and she doodles down her number first, and then she hands him the pen so he can write down Rick's number.
He tears a strip off and scrawls Rick's number down on it. He kind of hesitates before giving it to her, looks her up and down once more, and then sort of nods to himself and passes the number. He says, "I'll let Rick know you're looking to get in contact with him."
She nods, and she stuffs the number into her pocket, and she holds her hand out for her pen and waits.
Limey kind of... He's not actually going to, but he makes a show of putting the pen in his pocket, and then sort of looks at you.
She doesn't really know what to do at this point. What's her pen? She can't.
And that's for being a smart arsehole, mate.
Out. Looks at him and she says, "Fine, but if another pen from your establishment goes missing, you will learn." And she does.
I'll tell you
Stomps
what.
off.
I'll tell you what. You can have one.
But that's not as fun.
Can you get out of my bar, please?
She pouts and goes, "Fine," and she waves to everyone and she's like, "Nice meeting everyone," and she scampers off to do whatever.
Frank Green will go ahead and rub his temple and say, "Okay, fantastic. 2 new people in the city. Great."
Brilliant. God, that was exhausting. How do you do it, Frank?
Usually I have a big blue smurf behind my back to go ahead and tell if somebody's lying or not, but I decided to wing it.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I could tell they were lying and shifty from the start, but the pointless conversation to keep them there for long enough for you to tell... Ugh. It was a nightmare, Frank. It was a nightmare.
No, I understand. Sometimes you have to pull some bullshit in order to get things settled, but you did good. I got here. We verified what they were, and at least some of them gave credentials. That Malkavian, though, that one's gonna be a problem. I can tell. If she doesn't show up to Rick Grayson, or Grayson doesn't tell me that he's met her, she's gonna get clawed in the face, and I won't feel sorry for it at all.
No, I think I'm gonna set up the meeting myself. I've got her number and she's got his, and it's like I'll set her up. It'll be something.
Right. Anything else you need me for the night?
Well, nothing really. Let me think. Oh yeah. If you could have a word with your Primogen for me, I'd like to have a chat with him.
Alright. We need to go and check out that thing later.
Yeah, we do, yeah.
But I need to go home and get ready, so I'll see you guys later. And Ghost makes a quite abrupt exit because she's had ants in her pants for ages.
Oh, before she goes, can I get her attention?
Yeah.
Ghost,
Yeah.
I'll talk to you about this little business venture later. And really, stop stealing from my bar.
I'm sorry, the attitude's catching. She winks at you and then walks out.
He kind of like gives like a resigned smile. Jesus, Frank.
Eh, she's of your blood. Don't look at me. We're usually a lot better cool-headed.
It's alright. Nah, just tonight I was meant to get a load of work done, and this kind of, I don't know, this kind of a bit of a downer, you know. Uh,
It's a bit of business that you didn't expect. It happens to me all the time.
right in the middle of my domain, man. Mondo bound. Not cool.
Yeah. Just next time you see them, offer a little bit of grace. I know they broke some rules, but they didn't know.
Nah,
Of course, if
one
they
of
break it again, feel free to break their faces in.
no, it's up to. No, I'm not that kind of man, Frank. You know that, but stressful now. Anyway, I'll see you later on, okay? Be easy, you dig?
As you were, Lemmy. As you were. Frank Green says as he makes his own exit out of the scene.
Scene ends.